Sup guys, it's Melon here. This time we're bringing you the developer notes, and it's going to be on the newest readjustment changes. So this is coming in 2 weeks on the May 13th, and we're just going to give you a quick scan and a quick detail of what we think, our first impression, and how it might change the following arcade meta, PvE scene, and everything. Okay, so first of all, here's the list of who's getting adjusted. Maid Chloe, Cecilia, Flan, Mercedes, Hazel, and Mascot Hazel, Carrot, Research Carrot, and a hero remake for our church god. So we call him Axe God, so that kind of makes me up there, but it's Chaos Sect Axe. So we call him Axe God. He's gonna full remake. Exclusive equipment change for Cecilia, and artifact changes for Bloody Rose, Border Coin, and Aberrant. So first off, Maid Chloe. Maid Chloe, what changes is her S1, 40% chance increase to stun instead. And when the target is stunned after attacking, increase combat readiness of all allies except for the caster by 15%. So there's something minor, right? It's not a big change. 40% is a lot of it was a high chance to stun, and the chance to increased combat readiness is just a bonus, right? It's pretty cool. Her S1 is already annoying enough, but we don't know if that's enough to really make her valuable or like meta. Let's see what else gets changed, right? So Maid's Shear is her S2. Increased effectiveness. Effect resist of all allies by 20%. As the start of turn, recover health of the 2 lowest allies' HP. Amount recovered is increased proportional to caster's max health, and the healing is also increased, right? And her S3 VIP treatment entertains all allies with VIP treatment, reviving all dead allies to 20% HP. Dispels 2 debuffs from all allies and grants revive for 3 turns before increasing attack of all allies by 3 turns. So, first opinion, guys. Interesting. What draws my mind right immediately is her S2. Imagine stacking this with Samadra's staff. Samadra is like 20 to 30% increased ER, right? So I wonder if her passive stacks with Samadra's. Isn't that basically like a 50% AoE ER increase? That's kind of huge, isn't it? And her S2 will get greatly impacted by Samadra's too, right? This is kind of interesting. Now that like there's all this ER stacking on her, Maid Chloe also has the ER imprint, so she's gonna get like 80% ER just for herself, right? If Shamadra's this and her imprint is included, it's kind of huge. Maybe Maid Chloe could be the new like FCC counter. Sorry, not Aftanibia counter. Just put her at 230 speed or something and a high ER. Kind of interesting. So this is something you could easily, like, my first opinion, that's a build that could happen. So her S3 dispels 2 debuffs from all allies and grants revive for 3 turns before increasing attack of allies for 3 turns. So the cleanse happens first and then increases attack. So I'm not sure which one the revive or the spells happen first, but I think the spells happen first, then her buffs happen. So it's pretty cool. Kinda. Also, what this draws my mind into immediately is into Viseria, right? Viseria, Fairy Tail Tenebria, this is kind of decent to both of those. Because those are 2 units that they don't really push you back. They don't really do much just besides unbuffable and slow control. So Maid Chloe could really just counter Viseria with this. And Maid Chloe can, if on high enough ER, could potentially stop Fairy Tail Tenebria too, right? So there's kind of 2 things I could already see like being in play, like impactful. A counter to 2 meta units. Not a counter, but like a soft counter. S1's a bonus, right? So first, like, Maid Chloe seems pretty interesting. I don't know how meta this will be. She's still gonna be hard stomped by Emo Haze and like Basar. In general, Basar pushes her team back, right? So it doesn't matter that she cleanses them anyways if all her team is punished already. But first impression, decent. Maybe not the best yet. Most likely gonna be a last pick only unit because of how scary Emo Haze is. Okay, so we're gonna move on to Cecilia. So there's actually some. I know all you guys like Cecilia. Some of you guys are Cecilia believers, and I'm one of not a believer, right? Hopefully this might change it a bit. Right? Deliverance. What changes when the target is infected with decreased attack, infects creature chance by 25%. So this is our S1. Our S1 is a 50% chance to decrease defense, right, for 2 turns. And if they're decreased attack, there's a 25% increase, right? So 75%. It's kind of high. 75% chance to decrease defense is pretty nice. But the fact that you have to land the decreased attack first is kind of questionable. So this is something that's been changed from her exclusive equipment to her is your S2 now. So her S2 basically was attack all enemies with a magical spear, with a 50% chance to decrease the attack for 2 turns. Now it strips 1 buff before doing so, right? So decrease attack for 2 turns before dispelling 1 buff. Effect chance increased by 50% when the caster's health is 50% or less. So just in general, her EE got moved to her S2, and now it's a permanent thing. And what changed for her EE was dispels 1 debuff from all enemies after using Steel Cloudburst into decreasing speed of all enemies for 2 turns when using Steel Cloudburst. Kinda interesting. So what, her S2 has now 2 debuffs, attack down. No, her S2 has strip, attack down, and speed down. Kinda interesting, right? Isn't that pretty nice, honestly? Now that I think about it, that seems pretty solid. 2 debuffs is a lot. It's attack down is actually super underrated. It's really crippling. I think this is great into land. Oh wait, isn't this like pretty decent into Landy? So right now, for anyone who doesn't know, I think everybody knows, Landy is one of the most broken unit like everywhere right now. GVG, Arena, RTA. So I'm thinking, as an RTA head, isn't this pretty nice to Landy? Decreased speed is insanely strong. Decreased attack is pretty crippling. The strip too, right? So you get the Landy out of stuff and just put them down, you just get cripple them. This might be interesting to work around, guys. I might have to pull out my Cecilia for this. Anyways, nothing major, right? Nothing insanely like huge for a buff, but it might make her viable into how strong the Landy comes right now, right? I'm starting to believe. Yeah, I might think about rebuilding her. Okay, so Flan. So Flan, what changed for Flan is her soul burn from her S1 is changed to her S2. So her S1 soul burn is removed, and now her S2 soul burn is get an extra turn, right? Which is kind of what really Flan needed. So Flan S2 was just increased critical hit damage, increased combat readiness by 40%, right? Now is increased attack and critical hit damage for 2 turns before increasing combat readiness by 40% of an ally. So that's kind of insane actually. And S2 soul burn gives an extra turn. That means you soul burn S2, give extra attack, extra crit damage to somebody, and then you go into her S3. Drives a hard bargain against all enemies, making it unhealable and decreasing defense for 2 turns before decreasing combat readiness by 15%. So you S3 into S2, right? That's what, yeah, sorry. So her soul burn was actually on her S3. My bad. Nothing major change. You still, it's this order is still there. She just does S3 first, right? So S3 means you strip. No, you don't strip them all. You just give them unhealable, decrease defense, and you decrease their combat readiness, right? So the issue still relies on Flan, where you need an opener first. You need someone that can strip the enemy team. That's where you bring in like Bazaar, Cerise, or somebody. But the fact that it's super hard to do this in an RTA setting is quite difficult, right? Because there's Politis, there is Sage Bow. It's super hard to bring this into an RTA scene. But the fact that this could be abused in Arena might be possible, right? Imagine Bazaar into Flan into, let's say, your attack unit, right? That means Bazaar pushes them back like what, 30%, Flan pushes them back what, by another 15%, 45% CR push down. Politis won't push up high enough, right? But Politis is a red unit that's Omniscient. And it's just questionable. Flan, it sounds great on paper. You push them back, decrease defense, and then you push up your ally, right? Attack buff, critical damage buff. On paper, it sounds insane, but the fact that she needs insane setup is kind of hard to pull off, right? It's just she needs a lot just to make work. That's why Flan won't be insanely meta. People might find a way around to work around her, but I think it's still hard to use her because she looks great. It's just you rely so much on just setting up. Okay, so what changed for Mercedes is damage increase on her S1. Her S1 attacks 2 enemies, damage is increased. So her S2 after attacks all enemies with a massive light spear. If you use one that are 3 or less enemies, activate Dimensional Rupture again, and damage dealt increases as enemies become fewer. When activated this way, Dimensional Rupture deals decreased damage and it can only be activated once. It's kind of like a Vivian. So yeah, this kind of like a Vivian S2, right? Kana's getting power creep. Yeah, this is just Kana and Mercedes were just for like, let's say expeditions, but really not really needed anywhere else. They're just buffing. I think because we all get this as a free to play unit, everybody starts off with Mercedes. I think they're just trying to make early game players have an easier time. S3 is release the power of the ancient book to strongly attack all enemies before increasing attack of the caster for 2 turns. Damage dealt increases proportionally to the target's lost HP. So, in general, it's just free to play unit, right? Early game, just early game cleaver or something. Nothing insane. Mercedes won't be coming in the meta. Vivian's just better, right? Okay, so Hazel changing. S1. No, sorry, this is urgent heal. Urgent heal is S2. Heals the target proportional to the caster's attack and the target's max HP, or for increasing combat readiness to the caster by 50%. Amount recovered is double when the target health is 50% or less. So already Hazel is already questionable. It's super hard to use her, right? She's just another unit you use it for Fire Expedition, right? I'm sorry, for the Green Expedition. You don't really need Hazel for anything in the game right now. Units like these where they just rely on your team comp being one type, super niche and really hard. This is why Koana wasn't used. Koana needs your team to be on fire. Hazel kind of relies on your team being on fire too, or just more impactful when your team is on fire. And that's nothing that's really, it's not that important, right? Not that significant. Attack command is our S3. Use strengthening magic to increase attack of all allies for 2 turns before recovering health and dispelling 1 debuff. Amount recovered is proportional to the caster's attack and the target's max HP. So what we know for sure is dispelling 1 debuff is nothing. There's gonna be so many units that already have 2 debuffs, 3 debuffs even, and if they apply with another unit that's like 4 or 5 debuffs, right? What does dispelling 1 debuff do? Right? Let's just think about it like that. So Mascot Hazel changes are the same thing of regular Hazel. We're gonna look at what changed for runes though. So what was before was a harvest rune of her. It was amount recovered by urgent heal increased by 50% when target is 50% or less. Now is when using urgent regen, if the target is a fire elemental hero, has a 100% chance to dispel 2 debuffs from the target. So that's her S2, right? So her S2 has 2 cleanses for a fire unit, right? That's so niche. Achievement rune changes to increase the caster combat readiness when using urgent heal by 10% if the target is a fire hero, and 2, when using urgent heal, if all allies are fire heroes, recover health of all allies by 10%. All allies has to be fire. Very niche. Very niche. Courage rune. After using Book of Fire, absorbs 5% of the damage to its health. Now, after using Book of Fire, recover health of all allies with the lowest health by 5%. So this is basically a weaker Celestine, right? A weak Celestine or S1, right? Nothing too insane. Hazel is already like niche enough. I don't think she's going anywhere besides the expedition. Okay. So someone else who got to change. We're gonna skip the basic remake carrot. We're gonna just look at researcher's carrot. Before, her S1 was attack of a staff with a 50% chance to increase speed for 2 turns before a 30% chance to detonate burn effects inflicted on the enemy at the end of the turn. So it seems like her soul burn has been removed, and now her S1 has changed to attack of a staff with 50% chance to decrease speed for 2 turns before detonating burn effects inflicted on the enemy at the end of the turn. So her soul burn has been removed and has permanently been added to her S1. Before it was 30% chance to detonate. And now soul burn is 100%, right? Now it's just 100% always to detonate burns. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Her S2 now is, at the moment the caster is attacked, grant the caster a barrier for 1 turn, and burns the attacker for 1 turn. Now what's new is the barrier effect can only be activated once per turn. Is that new? Is that a buff? Anyways, and barrier strength increases proportional to the caster's attack. Let me read the before. I think it's just a rewarding. Yeah, so it changed from cooldown to 1 turn to barrier effect can only be activated once per turn. And I think it was just a rewarding change here. So, Flame Strike attacks all enemies with powerful fire, dispelling 1 buff before a 75% chance to inflict 2 burn effects for 1 turn. Soul Burn grants an extra turn. So now Terra is potentially nuker. She does her S3, strips once, does 2 burns, and her extra soul burn gives extra turn, right? That means she could pop the burn immediately. Semi-nuker, nothing insane. Yeah, nothing too insane, right? Okay, so what changes from her rune is increase attack 5% to 15%. Mercenary runes from 7% to 10%. Order rune increase damage dealt by flame spirit by 10% to after using flame spirit has 100% chance to grant continuous healing to the caster for 1 turn. Kinda questionable, kinda weird. Guess it's pretty nice, right? She has healing, so her barrier. She heals beneath her barrier. Wedge rune increase flame spirit burn effect chance by 5% into 25%. Relic rune has a 50% chance to dispel 1 buff inflicted on a caster when flame barrier is activated. Into after being attacked, the caster is debuffed has a 100% chance to dispel 1 debuff from the caster. You can only activate. So they're just trying to make her a really like self-sustaining unit by having her heal, cleanse, and just like a bear, and just like do more damage, right? So Mascot. So if you use Researcher Carrot before, you're definitely gonna like her now, right? Just a huge overall improvement in her whole kit. But it's just questionable how good she is even gonna be, right? She may be better, but not good enough, right? When the caster's the last rune will be Sun Rune. When the caster's max attack, when the caster is attacked at max HP, decrease damage received by 25%. If the caster HP is over 80% or more when attacked, decrease damage received by 20%. Huge buff, honestly. Now it's like you don't have to pop the carrot to do more damage anymore. Now she can even be hurt a bit and still receive less damage, right? Pretty nice overall. It's just super hard to really make her work still, right? Carrot's still carrot, a bench unit, right? Really. So Axe God, sure for Illinois Axe. He's getting a whole remake here. We're just gonna look at his specialty change form. Disconnect. Attack with an axe with a 75% chance to provoke for 1 turn. Damage dealt increased proportional to the caster's max HP. So what we know about this new Chaos Sect is they're really trying to push for this weird anti-light immediate unit for some odd reason. So attack chain attacks all enemies with a shockwave before granting immunity to the caster for 1 turn. Cooldown, Soulburn skill cooldown is decreased by 2 turns. Like another HP scaling but dark unit, right? Like, I don't know how impactful this would be like in general. Attack chain after awakening is like the damage increases max HP, proportional to a max HP now. And our S3 is vigorous strike. Smacks the enemy with a 100% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns before recovering 20% of the caster's max HP. When the enemy is defeated, grants an extra turn to the caster. That is super hard to do. First of all, insanely hard to do S3. And now his damage all max HP, right? We gotta see how much this damage actually does, right? So he's HP damage reliant now. He's gonna be used with like crit damage a lot. The S3 sounds so niche. You have to kill someone to get an extra turn, and even if you kill someone, what you do? You S2 here, attack the enemy with a shockwave. So niche. Runes got changed to 5% HP to 10, another 5 to 15. 1 HP rune got changed to it. So basically, the HP stayed the same, but now you have increased defense by 15%. Now, when attacking a light enemy target, vigorous strike increased defense pen by 40%. I don't like it, guys. 40% is not much, right? We already have Rowlet. Rowlet already has a rough time one shot. Rowlet can't one shot anyone. If Rowlet can't one shot like anyone, what do you expect Axe God can do, right? You're only gonna one shot like the squishiest of squish units, like an RB of 0 defense. Like, I don't know, guys. This is quite rough. Maybe you could use maybe you could use Axe God as an RB killer. So you kill RB once, and then you S2 kill him again, right? Maybe that's a thing, but that's potentially like the only thing I could think of him like off the spot, right? There's no light unit you really gotta kill, right? I don't think you're killing LQC with this. When attacking a light enemy target with disconnect, increase provoke chance by 25%. After using attack chain, has a 50% chance to extend the duration of any mini buffs granted to the caster by 1 turn. When using attack chain, inflicts injury on the target, the severity of injury increases proportion to the damage dealt. Increase combat readiness of all allies by 10% after being attacked by a light elemental hero. After being attacked, increase attack of the cast by 6%. Effect can stack up to 5 times. So maybe, okay, maybe we get. Let me think of this, guys. Maybe he's good into Elder Crow. Maybe he's good into Elder Crow, a Tywin. Is that what they're trying to do here? Trying to make Mascot a bruiser to stop the bruisers. Is that what they're trying to apply? But at the same time, it's still so niche, right? It sounds cool, but it's so hard to really make work. Yeah, good luck making this, guys. Making this work. He's still a 3-star, right? So it doesn't really take molos. So it might be viable, maybe, but it's gonna be too hard, right? Alright, guys. Artifact changes. Bloody Rose. Sure. So Bloody Rose got a straight bonus, right? After attacking with a single attack, has a 50% chance to inflict Vampiric Touch on the target for 2 turns. Vampiric Touch is not activated by a counter, dual attack, or extra attack. So Vampiric Touch is basically lifesteal. So when you hit that target, you heal up your whole team, right? Or is it your whole team, or is it one person? Either way, that's not good enough. You rather have other artifacts like mages cannot use any artifact. Well, in Arte setting, mages don't have much flexibility. Either on Book, Abyssal Crown, nothing else really, right? Layla Valin. It's so hard to really push any other artifact, right? You're trying to push for damage, you go for what? Symbol of Unity or Portrait. You're really ever in a scenario, if you're bringing a mage, you're mostly being aggressive. You're rarely gonna need a scenario where you're gonna use this S1 to try to trigger Vampiric Touch, right? This is very just, you rather have Book on everybody, right? You rather have 20, so you rather have 60 souls than this artifact. And it's just value, right? It's just too hard to trade off. Border Coin. After using a non-attack skill, increase attack by 50%, and the bonus is speed increases by 10% too now. In fact, can only stack up to 3 times. So PvE artifact, probably good for expeditions, probably good for Hollow Trials, maybe raid. Nothing too insane anywhere else, right? Sermia Border Coin used to be a thing. No one else really would use the Border Coin, really, right? So it's kind of sketch and there's niche here too, right? There's a small buff, but not enough of a buff to really like be impactful, right? Yeah, so it's something minor as well. So Umbrella, increase the damage dealt by basic skills by 20% into increase speed by 2% after basic skill. Increase speed, so it gets the bonus basic skill hit and increase speed, right? Really good, just PvE artifact, really. You're trying to, same thing, right? Raid, Hollow Trials, or just maybe just story mode, right? You get basic attack damage S1 and speed increase, right? It's nothing too insane, just more PvE stuff increase, right? A bad artifact turned to a more okay PvE artifact. Alright, guys. So that looks like that's all for the whole balance change for this week. Sorry, for this month. Seems like they're trying to touch on the units that haven't really been like played much, and units that we've been like memeing about, like Cecilia, Maid. We talked about that. These units like Carrot, Mascot, no one uses them, right? Who else was there? Like Hazel. These 3 specialty units. Seems like they're trying to buff the specialty units to try to make them more valuable or more of a concern, right? But in general, I don't think it's enough just yet. The only units that really we saw besides the specialty change units were Mercedes, Flan, Cecilia, and Maid Chloe. Maid Chloe has a nice one, not too insane, still nice. Cecilia looks interesting, guys. I think she could really stop this, well, maybe help stop this like Landy whole meta thing. Flan, Mercedes are just really niche, right? So anyway, guys, to sum it up, TLDR, interesting. I don't think it'll be beheaded defining enough. Maybe Cecilia will be the most game-changing one, but just like last balance patch, guys, it's not that big. It's not that impactful. Maybe one unit might be seeing more play, but that's it, right? Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the balance patch. Hope you guys are excited for what's coming up. Maybe this is just to really just spice things up more, right? After this balance patch, we're not sure who needs a buff no more, right? We memed about DJ Bazaar, we memed about Maid Chloe, we memed about Spez. They all got their buffs. Who's next? Guys, if you like the video, leave a comment, tell me what's up. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.